If you're ready. All right, welcome Woodbury to your village board meeting of October 23rd, 2025. Joining us this evening to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance is Presley Rodello. Will everyone please rise? And Presley is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and she's brought backup with her. And Martha Lopez.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
to the
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a seat. Hey, Presley. You can stay there, Martha. Okay, whatever you want.
right here. I'm not going in.
So, as is customary here, when you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we reward you. Unfortunately, we don't have any cars to give you.
Oh, no.
Okay, we were thinking.
You want the car?
So we have a T-shirt, okay, and Vic has got a certificate for you.
For Deputy Mayor for the month of October, this is for you.
So nervous. So if you would look at Maria, and we're going to take a photo together. If you could see past her.
Is the podium in the way?
It kind of is.
One more.
One more. Let me get a big smile out of you. Come on, you can do it.
I'll tickle you.
Give me a big smile, sweetheart.
Come on, smile.
I thought she was talking to me. So. Okay, she's going to go back and sit with Mom. I am all good with that. So go ahead. This you get to take. This you could use as a sleeping attire. But, oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you. What was your last one?
Yeah.
What was your last one?
Sad. It really is.
I know. Okay. I'll start with Lino Sciaretta could not be here tonight, so standing in for him is Rudy Zoda, same law firm, different man. So Rudy, thank you for joining us. And I am going to jump in with continued public hearings, introductory local law 4 of 2025, amending the village comprehensive plan. Can everybody hear me in the back? Is this on? It is? Okay. Public hearings being held to entertain public comments on introductory local law 4 of 2025, the purpose of assuring full opportunity for citizen participation for the preparation of the proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan. Public notice was printed in the Times Herald Record on April 10, 2025. All right, at this time, our attorney, Lino Sciaretta, could not be here tonight. He had sent the board a letter indicating that and asked if we can adjourn this to our November 13th meeting. So at this time, can I have a motion and a second to adjourn this to our November 13th meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
A discussion?
Okay.
I wanted to note for the record that this local law references a document of June 13, 2019. The document, the last document we have, and the one that was presented at the earlier hearing, is dated July 2024, which included pages from 3/17/08 with annotations by the attorney of changes to be made. No document was on the website as of this afternoon to be adopted or to be considered. And before we have another hearing or extend the hearing, I think we need to have a record document reflecting not only the changes requested by the attorney, but also a review of the maps that we just received, and effectively to edit these documents to bring them up to date.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. A motion is second. Do I have an all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving right along. Okay, we have an STR application objection for 1113 Route 32. A public hearing is being held to entertain public comments on a short-term rental objection for the property located at 1113 Route 32 in Highland Mills. The public notice was printed in the Times Herald Record on September 18th, 2025, and the applicant is here.
Thank you. How are you?
Introduce yourself.
Appreciate it. Isaac Newman. If this is on, can you hear me?
That's it.
Okay,
You're
great.
on.
Good. Appreciate the time here for the public hearing. I understand the concerns. I think I went over it in the last time. We have, security cameras, several other institutes that allow us to view, monitor who goes in there. I understand the township allows under the law here to have the public hearings. Of course, have to get the permit. We appreciate that. As I mentioned before, when I was originally bought the house, my attorney advised me that it was okay to do so. I got the notice, so I apologize that I didn't know that there was a permit to be had, but I'm happy to be here today and go forward with proceeding with the permits. And that's what I want to try to do here. I really appreciate, the time that the township's given me to make the case and help understand what I'm trying to accomplish. I think that, and I think it's a great idea that there is a permit because obviously it's renewable. So if I could just have the opportunity and chance to show everyone that, I'm not trying here to disturb anyone or disturb any neighbors, just trying to, do what's done in a short-term rental. I really, I respect everyone around me, my neighbors and everyone. So I really think that if you can allow me the opportunity to have the rental, I can really show that this property will not disturb or bother or be involved. And of course, part of the application is to have me on record and anybody else that needs to call me. It's my number. You can call me at any time. I'm very happy to help and answer any questions or any concerns that anybody has for the property. And I appreciate it.
All right, stay there for a second. Sure. Anyone on the board have any questions for the applicant? No? Anyone? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Really appreciate it.
So at this time, not Pine, we will go out to the public for comment on this application. So I'll start in the front row.
Jimmy Ing, Highland Mills. For those that know me, I started coming to the village board meetings because of short-term rentals in the Brigadoon. I respect what you're doing. I respect what you're trying to do and vouching for the property. Let me explain to what happened in Brigadoon. We had a bunch of owners purchase homes and they were putting them out as short-term rentals. And not for a year, not for 2 years, but short-term rentals generally for over the weekend. So what we started seeing was, number one, the garbage. They would come and go, and we would wind up with mounds of garbage just piled up. And, it gets blown around. We wound up with a noise issue. However people are coming in, you know what? The husband comes out, he's waiting in the car. The wife and the kids take a little longer. He's there honking on a Sunday, no matter what the time is. I've had people pull into my driveway because they're unfamiliar with the area. It's dark, and it's not really what we're looking for. And the big thing is, you know what? I love knowing my neighbors. You walk by them, you meet each other, you know them, you see their kids, whether it's the dog, the kids, the husband and wife walking by, you know them. When you do short-term rentals of this type, we're strangers to each other. And you can't vouch for these people. You can vouch that you'll take care of any complaints, whatever else. But strangers are strangers, and in this area, it changes things. A lot of us don't lock garages, or lock our cars. Our kids run up and down the streets. It's a different feel when you have people you're unfamiliar with, and that's nothing that you can do anything about. You know, I understand you're trying to run a business, you made an investment, and I give you that. But is there a reason why you cannot do a long-term rental? 1-year leases, 2-year leases. It's more consistent. It may be a lesser return, but for the community, it's a different feel. Because those short-term rentals in the Brigadoon now are long-term rentals. The leases have to get approved, and I see the same faces, and that's the key. And I respect what you're trying to do, but for me, if I was the neighbor, I'm uncomfortable. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Anyone else in that first row?
Just to answer that, the reason it's short-term is because I go there about twice a month, so I can't have someone there and then I want to be there also. And number two is I'm available all the time, and when I'm there, you do see me, so I am there more often. I don't know about other places, but that's sort of the reason for that. Just wanted to make sure that.
Okay. Okay, anyone else in the first row? Second row? Third row? Oh, second row.
I've kind of said this to the town and village, and other people have said it too. I mean, one of the main issues that we have here are people buying the homes, turning around and renting them illegally to multiple families. To me, short-term rentals is just like this on steroids. People are in and out. We want people to come up here, buy a home, be part of the community, and live in Woodbury. I mean, you've said you've owned 2 houses. I don't know how you're living in one and then renting out another one. That's up to you. I'm just saying. And also the doctrine of clean hands. You're renting them out illegally. You've had complaints and everything else. You come and ask for a permit. In law, there's a doctrine of clean hands. You really should come and not say, hey, listen, I need you to help me enforce what I've been doing kind of illegally. And that's it. I mean, I was here. I've seen neighbors come up and go in front of the board. It takes it pretty brave to sit and your neighbor and going, hey, listen, I really don't think this is good. Other people came up and said they moved up here for the quality of life, like Jimmy was saying. This is what we want to do. We want to know our neighbors. This is not the type of community. It's nice. I know there's a backyard, but they're driving ATVs or snowmobiles or whatever it was. I just know by my neighborhood, I have people renting homes to multiple families, and we're trying to go through the proper channels to make sure that that's out there. But as Jimmy said, you have garbage. Every time the landlord comes in, they throw this stuff out on the road, and then it's us who has to call to have it picked up. I mean, to me, this is not, I know there's a permit process for it, but I think if you had one neighbor who objected, I think that's kind of it. The same as if you were asking for a variance on a building permit and the neighbor says, no, I don't want the shed in back because it's so-and-so. So that's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else in the second row? Third row?
Good evening. My name is Sal DeVito, veteran and retiree. I lived in Orange County for.
Pick up the phone. Yeah, there you go.
I lived in Orange County for about 42 years. I met Isaac about 3.5 years ago. The town of Wayanda decided to build about 10 warehouses surrounding my home. My home wasn't part of the process, but it would have been shattered by 10 warehouses. I reached out for Isaac. He's one of the builders, and told him, hey, I'm 70 years old. I'm retired. I'm from West Point. I've been living here, and my house ain't part of the project, but I can't live here. So he said, I'll see what I can do for you. And he called me back 2 weeks later and said to him, he goes, we'll buy your property if that's good with you. My wife and I said, we don't want to sell, but if we have to, we will. So we drew up a contract that if he got approved, that he would buy the home, and if he didn't get approved, I keep my home. Well, the process went on for 3 years. Part of the contract said, after I sell my home to Isaac, after he's approved, I can live in my home post-occupancy for as long as it took for him to build there. I said, okay, that's great. I can really appreciate that. And then in order to buy a new home, I'm not rich, I had to sell my home. He says, well, when it comes time to buying a home, I'll give you the money you need to buy a home, and then after you sell, you pay me back. So, wow, that's great. And like my mom told me, in life you meet people that keep their word, which are good people, and people that don't keep their word, which are bad people. And I met him. We've changed the contract 3 or 4 times. He's helped me move. He's helped me buying the real estate. Everything Isaac Newman said has come through. I've dealt with developers in my life. I've been a businessman for 40 years, and honorable, a good neighbor. And I hear people speaking about garbage and people beeping horns. That's just life in the city. There's garbage trucks and garbage people, and people live. I mean, Isaac goes there twice a month. Isaac is there twice a month, living at home. So I'm speaking on behalf of Isaac. Good man, good neighbor, good businessman. Thank you for your time, board.
All right, anyone else? Row 3, what was I up to? Row 4. Now, 5, 6, back row, wall, side. Where is that?
What was your name? Isaac, BJ. Nothing I say is going to be personally directed at you. I have to say these things because I was confused for being an Antifa terrorist the other day, so totally serious too. The short-term rentals, I understand the business side of it. I get it. I'm actually here to, not as a reporter, but to express my displeasure in all of the candidates in not speaking about the short-term rental issue across southern Orange County. Because when you talk about annexation, you also have to talk about short-term rentals. And if you don't understand why, allow me to explain for just a moment. And Mr. Fabro, is mommy here? Okay, good. Okay. Well, but shouldn't you be sitting up there? No. Oh, yes. Okay.
Rhonda,
allow
Please address the board, sir.
Nice of you to wear pants, Rhonda. Thank you.
Sir, please address the board. Thank you.
Okay, I will. I'll just pretend I'm talking to mommy. So, the problem with the annexations is that you have developers that will come to you and say, we're limited on housing capacity. That's what happened with Clovewood. That was the excuse that was used to push Clovewood through, is they came, and you can shake your head all you want, Rhonda.
Yeah, just, you have to.
Okay, all right, I will look at you then, since we apparently work together. So when you talk about annexations, the excuse that's always used consistently is New York State has a housing shortage. You hear it every single time. But here's the flip side to that. The short-term rental crisis across the United States exasperates the housing shortage. Every single time you approve a short-term rental, you take a housing unit off the market, which in turn gives those developers an opportunity to say, well, there's no housing in Woodbury. I guess we're going to have to build a big, huge development on that golf course. That's the first problem. The second problem is that here in Orange County, you have a tourism-based economy. You've got Legoland, you got Woodbury Commons, we got the beautiful scenery, on and on and on. But here's the thing. You need people to work there. And how many people in this room have heard stories saying there's a labor shortage? We can't find enough people to work. Part of the reason is that people can't afford housing. And part of the reason they can't afford housing is because of short-term rentals. Because every time you approve one of these applications, regardless of whether or not Isaac here is a good guy, regardless of whether or not it's a great application, you take that unit away from people that can't afford to buy homes. So I'm hoping for all the people that are running for office and for the board here that they'll talk about the short-term rental crisis across America and here in New York State. Because if you don't address it, let me tell you something. I spent all day consulting people in South Blooming Grove about something we're going to talk about later. Pay attention to that one. They're upset and no one is coming to help them. And it all happened in South Blooming Grove because they said there's a housing shortage. So from now on, whenever you come up here with these short-term rental applications, every single one of them, I hope you remember, you're taking housing inventory away from people, you're making housing more expensive, you're exacerbating a labor shortage, and you're giving developers an excuse to develop. And I'd love to hear what the guy with the master plan has to say about that when he's done filling with his papers.
Anyone else in the public? No, at the end. Yes, I know where you're going. You want to talk on this? Okay. Valerie, you don't need to raise your hand.
Valerie Hebel, Highland Mills. I see that house when I travel up Route 32. It's in a beautiful area, nice, beautiful houses. There's the winery behind it. or what was the Palea Winery before, and now it's a distillery, whatever. But when they bought the house, it was a residential property. That's what it was sold for. And now, you know, he's been renting it out as a short-term rental for years now, illegally. I mean, we should even be talking about fining him. Even if you do approve the short-term rental, he should be fined for doing something illegal. And it does ruin, you know, there are areas in the town that are designated for hotels or whatever, or maybe we should talk about making a zone for this type of rental. But that particular area is residential as far as I'm concerned, and the neighbors that live there have a right to, you know, have that ambiance around them that they bought. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Can I get a motion and a second to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so what's the board's pleasure? Jim, you want to start us off?
I do.
You?
And I'm actually trying to address both the one for 11332 as well as another one on Pine Hill Road. These applications are not equivalent to B&B applications, as they are not restricted to owner-occupied units. These are not owner-occupied, so they're simply converting the residents into essentially distributed hotel residences. This brings up the usual problems of unsupervised renters, which have already been raised a number of times, and neighborhood disturbances. This is true for this site as well as the other one. Our zoning for residential districts is to protect neighborhoods, i.e. places with neighbors, from intrusions of incompatible uses. In this case, the STRs, not only this one, but every one, they're commercial properties and they disrupt the neighborhoods. At this point, I would actually want to move to direct the attorney to prepare a moratorium on further STR applications and prepare revisions to the STR to limit the STR to owner-occupied units only. This has been done in a number of areas, and now it's widely required in New York City. It's basically to control the very problems that are being addressed by the neighbors who have brought this to our attention.
Matt?
I'm a no on this. Thank you.
With regards to this property and the other one that we're going to discuss tonight, what I don't like is that although they've been issued violations, they continue to list the property and rent it. I think I'd have more respect if they immediately stopped and went through the process. But at this point, I say to myself, there have been occurrences on the properties, there have been complaints, and at this time, I'm a no.
I kind of agree with what Susan said. I have a lot of issues with these short-term rentals, a lot of complaints going on, so I vote no.
Okay, so can I have a motion and a second? Can I have a motion and a second to deny the applicant's short-term rental application?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on to a public hearing being held to entertain public comments on a short-term rental application objection for a property located at 88 Pine Hill Road in Highland Mills. Public notice was printed in the Times Herald Record on October 16, 2025. All the property owners within 300 feet of the location were noticed of this public hearing, and proof of said mailings were provided to the village clerk. So is the homeowner here? You're here. Step to the podium. Come on down.
everybody.
Pull it up, introduce yourself. And
Hi, my name is Midland Charles. Hi, everyone. Okay,
Keep it closer to yourself.
I'm sorry?
Keep it closer so we can hear you.
Oh, sure.
There
Okay.
you go.
My name is Midland Charles. Yes. Hi. I'm here to answer any questions that anyone might have regarding the property.
Okay, starting at the far end, once again, trustee Fryban.
I just wanted to, you are aware that we have received several written comments about the property?
I'm not sure exactly what comments you guys have received, actually.
They are objecting to the property. You haven't been given this information?
No, I have not, actually.
Given that information?
I think it's unfair to proceed if the applicant hasn't seen these and can answer them. I'll give them the copies I have, but this is not the way we conduct hearings.
Given the, 1 second. No. So, John, does the local law actually say we have to provide the objections from the neighbors?
I don't believe it does.
Okay.
It just has to supply the report.
Okay.
I don't find it in
No.
this
Okay.
section.
Okay.
It's a
Jim, are
public,
you done with questions?
I want to restate my basic objection to the SDR, and I believe it's time to get a moratorium on this and to straighten this out, because the unoccupied rentals are simply hotel uses put into the middle of residential neighborhoods, so my vote is no.
Okay.
Can I hear about the objections, or at least know about exactly what were said?
I'll give you the objection.
Sure.
These are public records, I don't.
You would have to redact personal information on there, like email addresses and things like that. Once you redact the person's private email address, yes. Have you done that? If their phone numbers or private email addresses are on there, we would redact that prior to distributing it. Or she can get it from the clerk tomorrow.
Which is,
Anyone else on the board with questions for the applicant? No? Okay.
No, not this.
That's it for right now. I will go out to the public for anyone with public comments on this.
Anyone have any questions for me? Sure. Okay, sure.
Procedure. Hey, everyone. Can you hear me? Greg McLeod, Highland Mills. Live over on Carriage Lane. Now, the property in question, 88, shares a corner with Carriage Lane. Carriage Lane's a private road. There's only 3 houses on it, plus 80 and 88 Pine Hill. We're a small community. We're tight. We know our neighbors. We trust each other. We watch each other's kids, all that good stuff. So short-term rentals, has been said, changes the character of a residential neighborhood, particularly a small one like Carriage Lane, where we're right off a main road. We got a very tight community, and now we have every week or every weekend different people coming in and out. You never get to know your neighbors when they're constantly changing, as in the case in any short-term rental. Secondly, and probably most aggravating for me, is the noise. If you're a renter, you're on vacation, they got a pool in the back, they're hanging about there with the pool, they're blasting their music, I get it. When I'm on vacation, I want to do the same thing. But there is a noise ordinance in this town with hours. After hours, what am I going to do? Am I going to call the building department and get a real person at 7 or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the evening on a Saturday? Am I going to bog down the police with noise complaints every weekend? No, that's not realistic. Am I going to go out there with my noise meter and check the decibels because I have the code and it says section 205-A part A, 65 decibels from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 55 decibels from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m.? Of course not. I'm an engineer, but I'm not a jerk. But on the other hand, I can tell you that the way the sound travels up the hill, up the ridge, and bounces off, I can hear conversations like I'm standing next to people some days. And I get it, you know, it's one of those things, you're on vacation, you treat the area, you treat the house differently than if you live there. And I don't want to go down every single time and have to talk the same conversation. If it was a long-term rental and they live there for a year or more, you get to know them. You can say, hey, Joe, can you turn the music down? And if they keep not turning it down, then I can make a call. But when it's different people every week, that's just not practical and not possible. You know, I don't want to be that guy constantly calling on my neighbors every time there's something I don't like. Now, my third point on this, the house is advertised with 10 bedrooms. It's roughly 1,500 square feet. That's only 150 square feet per occupant if it's maxed out. Now, Trustee Fryband had a good point. If it's a short-term rental, it's effectively a commercial property. If it's commercial property, it has to be up to commercial building code. Doesn't have sprinklers. I shouldn't say that. I've never been inside the house. But I would be very surprised if they had sprinkler systems and all the other accoutrements that you would need in an equivalent commercial property, such as a hotel. And furthermore, unlike when the property was first purchased into a short-term rental, we now have a viable hotel less than 2 miles away opening in November, over on Estrada Road. So I don't even see the need for the community to have short-term rentals anymore, because we do have more hotel space through actual qualified hotel operators. You know, I understand people want to make a living. I understand people want to invest in real estate and try to rent it out. But a short-term rental, particularly on this street, in this area, it just doesn't work. And with that, I'll pass the mic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Anyone else in the public? The floor is yours.
Good evening. Rob Stauffer. I'm in Highland Mills. I live next to the property in question. Again, nothing personal against the person trying to rent this out. She seemed like a very nice lady. So nothing I say, don't take it personally. Of course, I'm very much against this. I'm against the concept as a whole. I've lived here 22 years. I have a 16-year-old developmentally disabled son and a 12-year-old daughter. I've lived here very quietly. I love Woodbury. I don't bother anybody. My neighbors all know me. I just try to be a good neighbor. I don't know how it happened that I wound up on my residential street living next to basically a motel, a short-term motel. It's shaped like a house, but different people come every weekend and stay in the house, usually have a party. I've had to call the police department several times about the noise. I have photos here of about 20 cars in the lot. And it's a lot. The driveway is configured so it's a driveway, but it's just grass on the side, and they use it as a parking lot. And you can get 18 to 20 cars in there because I've seen it. My main concern, again, is my kids. I don't mean to sound paranoid because I'm not. I know most people are good people. I know the people coming there are usually not bad people. I'm sure they're not. But you never know. It's a wheel. And if I have different people coming in every week, no one's going to wake me up one Sunday morning and go, hey, today is the day there's going to be a problem. Today there's somebody over there who's a threat to your kids. And I haven't felt comfortable leaving my 16-year-old, who is not a typical 16-year-old. He's skews much younger than that as far as his judgment, and my 12-year-old daughter, just to go out in our backyard and just play unsupervised. I'm always looking, and what can you tell by looking? Not really anything, but I look anyway just to see who's next door. And it really worries me. It's not appropriate for this neighborhood. I don't know why it's allowed to begin with, but, and again, nothing personal, but this has been going on for a couple of years now, illegally. So I don't know why you would ever reward that conduct with making it legal when it's not appropriate anyway for the neighborhood. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
I wanted to mention that I definitely understand exactly where you guys are coming from. I have tons of requests for people to come in and actually have weddings and parties at my home that I do not actually agree with, because the property is actually pretty big, and I do not actually accept people to actually come to the house and actually agree for them to come in specifically for that house, and I screen my guests pretty carefully. They want to come in and actually have parties. I've canceled guests, and I've made sure that I screen them pretty carefully. And I think I've seen you particularly come in, and the couple of times that they've had been 20 cars. I actually was using the place myself because my niece was graduating a couple of times. My niece graduated this past June. I used the property. I'm allowed to use the property myself in order to, celebrate my niece's graduation this past June. And the year before that, they both graduated from 8th grade. And that was me. And my friends came, and we left the property at 7 p.m. that night. And yes, we had, multiple cars parking on the lawn at that time. And they were very late, but it was by 7 p.m. we all left. And there were no noise complaints because I was there during both times. At no time did I have anybody, staying at the property with 20 cars, because I do have cameras there where I can monitor exactly what is going on. And I definitely do not want anybody going there and making noises and disturbing our neighbors, because it's very important to me, because if it's not working, and obviously it would be an issue for all of you guys, and it would be an issue for me as well too. And I do not want that to happen.
Anyone else in the public? Questions? Go ahead, Antonio. Go ahead. All right, now that's fine.
My name is Rich Mednick. I live on Carriage Lane also. I'm behind the property.
I'm Elizabeth Mednick.
I have a couple of questions. Can you just bring me up to speed? Is there a permit for that property right now to operate as an Airbnb?
That's why they're here. That's why they're here.
So why is this coming up today as opposed to 2 years ago when we've made complaints?
I don't recall any.
What is the enforcement that the town is doing? Well, what's the so it's a 2-year window from the time. When was the latest violation? Something is off in the timing, and that this has been going on. And I have the Airbnb ad with comments from people that stayed there. So we know that it's been going on. It's documented for multiple years, and yet 2 years later, we're standing here having a discussion. Now, I'm a businessman, and I understand making money. But I live in a residential area, and I've been there for 17 years. My wife is a homemaker, and I've never seen this lady. So I'm not sure if she was there for 1 or 2 banquets that she had of her own, but for me, this is the first time that I'm ever seeing her. I also have children, and I have a $17,000 tax bill on my house. And there's enough challenges that Woodbury is facing than these short-term rentals, because little by little, people are leaving this town, and it's a beautiful town, and it's a shame. And I have a lot of respect, more respect now than I did a half hour ago from the comments about short-term rentals. Just in general, I didn't come here to, and by the way, if this was certain parts of Route 32 and the zoning was different, you can make an argument that short-term rentals should be allowed. You can also make it that it shouldn't be allowed. But that's not the case on Pine Hill Road, on our, at the corner of Carriage Lane. It's a 100% residential area. And the two things that's going to happen if you do approve it is, A, you're going to reward behavior that is illegal. Because essentially, she's been breaking the law by doing this. She's gotten fines, and yet in the last month or two, there's been other rentals. So maybe it's worth it for her to just keep paying the fines and continue. It might be, that's a financial decision that someone has to make. But that's a residential area, and what you're going to be doing is, if you allow short-term rentals, you're setting a very, very dangerous precedent. Because I would consider doing that if she's going to do that. I have a very big house. So she's advertising for 10 guests. I can probably fit 70 guests in, because I have 7 acres, and Greg has 11 acres. And that is not a big lot. That's a very small lot. That's well under an acre. I'd probably say about a half an acre. Even in the air, it's enjoy the evenings by the fire pit, which is right along our road. My whole behavior has changed in the summer because of this house. Normally, I would love the country air. I'd keep all the windows open in my house. Now I put the air conditioning on and we can all sleep because, again, she says she's vetting the people that are staying there, but I don't necessarily know what process she's vetting. You can say that, but you know, I don't trust the vetting process. If you have a long-term rental, you have a lease, you have a legal document, you have a lot more information on who's staying there, and you also have recourse if, God forbid, there's some sort of emergency. So just to sum up, it's a dangerous precedent that you're setting across the board by allowing short-term rentals in the town. The town is already teetering with a whole host of issues. The fabric of the community is going to change. You're also going to be, I have complained to the police, and my email is probably one of those, so you don't have to cross out my information. Again, my name is Rich Mednick. I'm on Carriage Lane. So I'm just completely against it, and I'm frustrated with the whole situation that this has been going on for so long, and yet within the last month or two, we've still had rental. So where's the fine? Where's the enforcement? That's my issue. So I'm hoping that you deny it. I like what I heard over there. Again, I'm all for making money, but not on that road. If it was zoned for commercial, then we have an argument. That's not the case here.
What you said.
Yeah, just.
I'm there during the day, on the weekends and everything, and as we drive by, there's a lot of people there. It seems like almost every time there's people there, there's like parties. You can see there's multiple families.
It's advertised as use the pool and hang out by the fireplace at night. And so what do? We call the police. She's not living there. If it was a little old lady that has circumstances and was about to lose the house, again, you can make an argument. That's not the case here. So please deny this short-term rental and all short-term rentals and set the precedent now and enforce the law. That's the problem. Enforce the law. A $250 fine or whatever the fine is not enough to discourage a $3,943 rental for 5 nights. I'd eat the fine every single rental. It's just a tax. You have to enforce the law. And that's really what comes down to in this town, in New York, and this country. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick follow-on question for the board. Greg McLeod, Highland Mills again, which is, if you listen to your constituents who live in the area and deny this permit, if the property continues to be rented, despite being denied a permit, what's the penalty? Is it simply a fine, or can more be done? Because as my neighbor just said, if the fine is not of a sufficient amount, that's the cost of doing business, and this problem doesn't go away. So I'm asking the board, if it's denied and it's continued to be rented, then what?
Issued violations, then it's a court date. Court is set, and it's a court date.
Then the judge is the one who sets the fines and those collections depending on
Thank you, Greg. Anyone else in the public going?
Jimmy A. Highland Mills. So basically, today's the first time I ever agreed with James Fryman. It really is. I just fell out. Thank you, James.
Somebody keeping the score over there?
But it is. This doesn't work for us. So, again, when we started with the short-term rentals, okay, great. We reported to building department, they issue a violation, and then on and on. Whatever the violation is, it doesn't really matter, but it's really unenforceable until, if they choose not to pay it, you got to issue a lien on it or something like that. The Brigham HOA finally got tired of these short-term rentals, and it is. You have to own it for 1 year before you can rent it out. No short-term rentals, it's for a year minimum. Any violations are a $10,000 fine. I don't believe the village is fining that much, but basically, it's worth it for them. We've seen it. It's worth it for them to ignore the violation and keep going and going. And it is. I don't see anybody coming up here speaking up for the issue. I just hear a lot of concerned residents because I want to know my neighbor. Even if I don't get along with the neighbor, at least I know what I'm dealing with. You have that sense of comfort, that sense of security. And it's wrong. Okay? Just think, as far as vetting, I don't know, I don't understand how you're vetting these people before they rent, because you're not running a background check. And that's basically, but even a background check is not 100%. But the whole thing is, it's wrong. Whether there's children involved or not, it could be a couple that just wants to relax. They should not have to deal with strangers going back and forth, the noise from strangers. It's just, this process doesn't work. And again, James, brilliant idea. We issue that moratorium and we can stop this, at least get it back for the residents. Okay, you want to rent? 1 year or more, and that works. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
As Martha's going up there, I just want to point out that even, Jimmy, even if we had a $10,000 fine, we've experienced judges lowering the fine. I had that happen all the time with dog licenses. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying even if it was $10,000, once you go before the judge can then make the amount. And I do want to point out that if rentals are occurring, we have not received any occupancy tax for those rentals, which is required in both the town, village, and county. There is an occupancy tax on all all those type of dwellings or whatever they're called.
Hi, Martha Lopez, Highland Mills. I just have a really quick question. If a short-term rental is operating against local town law, can they be shut down and the tenants, whoever's renting it for that week, be forced to vacate the premises? Because I looked it up and it says that they can be, so I'm just wondering if that's an option here.
So technically, I don't believe we can force them out because it's by violation require 30 days for us to give them due process. They have 30 days to comply with the law, and then we have to, that's our local law. I don't know which law you're referring to.
It says for short-term rentals. So is that law strictly for the owner, but not for the short-term renter? So, because they don't have a lease, say for a month, a year, whatever. They're just renting for a week. So, maybe this is a good question for the attorney. Would they be able to be forced to vacate the premises because they are not long-term tenants? They're operating against local law if they tell them no, that they can't continue to rent. So can they be forced, their tenants be forced to vacate the premises?
The violation of the law is a violation by the owner, not by the tenant. And if you have a 7-day rental agreement, the time that it's going to take for the wheels of justice to turn and to evict somebody is not going to happen that quickly. Again, they're innocent people using the property. It's the owner of the property that is committing the violation, and they're the ones that should be punished for it.
However, I understand that they're innocent people that are renting it, but honestly, it should be on the owner that continues to break the law and continues to rent. So if their source of income is removed from them, then wouldn't that force them to stop renting it out? If they, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it should. If you read the code, if there's more than 3 violations, it could be up to $1,500, and it's per day. It's not a one-time fine.
Okay.
And
So-
jail time is also
Oh, good.
considered in the statute.
Okay.
But it just, the violations need to keep being placed on the property, and the courts need to follow through with it.
So I have a question, a follow-up question. So both this property and the other owner that was here previously, if you look online, they have their places rented far out in advance, right? On Airbnb. And so we already know that they already have intentions, regardless. They've already rented out these their homes. So we know this in advance. What can we do? We know it's on Airbnb. It tells you what weeks they have rented out. So you know this in advance. You can look at Airbnb. You see that they have contractually had tenants there illegally, especially the other guy that you've already said no to. So you know this in advance. What can we do to prevent them from continuing to rent it, since you know this in advance now?
Until someone goes to the property, it would not be a violation.
So that would be Mr. Hand, the building department? Who would go to the property? I'm not.
The building
unsure.
department, the code enforcement officer, the neighbors should complain. Yes.
Every single day continuously. Each day acts as a new violation. And the code says the first offense is $500 per day, second offense $750 a day, plus, as the attorney said, that includes possible prison time. That is set by the judge. When we go to court, appearance tickets will be issued upon denials, and we will move forward with that. But they do have to, everybody gets their time in front of the judge, just like every violation and appearance ticket that we issue. So due process is still required.
So they're going to be able to continue to rent out to the end of the year?
That adds the violation and the fines. Okay. Every single day, like I said, that goes on, and we will continue issuing it, and the judge is going to be made aware of all this, and the judge sets the fines, and we go from there.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Anyone else?
Can I ask a quick follow-up question?
Go ahead.
Again, Rob Stow for Highland Mills. Just following up to what the previous speaker said. I live next door. Well, now, I'm going to assume, now I shouldn't assume anything. I hope you will deny this request. But if you did, and the renting continues, I see it all the time. And it doesn't usually rise to the level, it does sometimes, of like a tremendous party with tons of noise. It's just different people in there that are renting the house out. So what do I do as far as theoretically making a complaint? Can I come and make a complaint that there are, and say there are
The village prosecutor to handle it in court.
okay.
So, but that's, I mean, that's, like I
And
said,
what would I say in this complaint? Just that there are obviously different people there than there are any other weekend?
you can just say it appears that it's still being rented.
Still being rented, still on the website,
Correct.
yada, yada. Okay.
And it is something we check regularly to see, so we can issue new violations. The biggest issues we have with the short-term rentals is the proof of which home it is. So
Proof of what? I'm sorry.
the home. Once we figure it does take us time, we can get complaints, but it is on the village the burden of proof to prove that is that home without a doubt from the evidence we collect off online and the ads and the complaints. So it does take some time, and once we do get the violation and we can prove it, where it's not something that can be thrown away in court, and the more we get from the neighbors, the more evidence it is for our prosecutor to handle this in court.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm confused about one issue. I'm confused about the time delay. This has been going on for years. We've been complaining for years. If I was doing illegal construction in my house, the building department would come down, they would issue a stop work order. This is a life safety issue as well. because eventually, and it's happened in Rockland, there's going to be an incident where people are hurt by fire, by drowning. Or this is an accident waiting to happen. So I'm not sure why the burden of proof is on the neighbors or the community when the complaints have been made, when the police have been called. Why? So every single time that there's a rental, I'm going to call who? 911? I'm going to call, what am I going to call? Again, I don't understand the process. This is not a month ago. This is 2 years. And yet, when is the court case?
I can't speak for 2 years ago. I was not here. That was before I returned. But we are actively going on these and looking for them. And it's like I said, it's hard. We have to be able to prove beyond a burden of doubt that in court that this is that residence, and that when they only post pictures of the interior of the house, it is very hard for us to prove that. We can't rent it to say for sure and be given the address. So as far as what happened a couple of years ago, I was not here for that. But as soon as we were made aware of and brought to my attention and my coworkers' attention, we go on and we find them, we issue the violations, and we move forward with them.
Well, this is the proof is the person standing right here. She should be told, if you have rentals in the pipeline, you are forbidden from renting until your case is heard. So why again, we're rewarding behavior that's clearly illegal. So right now, I would hope that somebody from the board would say, cease and desist. We know that you're renting it. You're here for an application of it. So if you have rentals, cancel them until you have your day in court. The burden shouldn't be on us to complain every time. It's a waste of village resources, and it's not the way the law works. The law needs to catch up, and it should catch up, especially when all the players are standing here right now in such a small town. So there's something wrong with the time frame here, and it's very frustrating. Thank you for hearing me again.
Jackie Hernandez, Highland Mills. Just a couple of things. I think I definitely understand the frustration of the residents. I live across the street from the gentleman prior to that left. But I will say that I know that they're, for the board and as well as our building department, they have to, there's a checks and balance on what we can and cannot do. Because I know that there was a lawsuit in Long Island where Airbnb sued based on something similar to this. So I do want to caution, and let everyone know, just allow the boards, they're aware of it. The building department is working on it. So just provide them with the opportunity to do what they need to do so it doesn't compromise us legally also. What I would like to say to the board is that I believe because these Airbnbs have been in existence, the board, the village may be entitled to back taxes for the rentals. So that is something that I think the board should look into as far as the total amount of earnings they've had for the time that they've been there and collecting. I know Cornwall just did that with their current supervisor, and he just collected an $8,000 check from one of the Airbnbs. So I'm not sure to that level. Desiree?
The one and only STR that was issued, 2 months ago, April, I have notified them of they registered this week, and I have notified them that they do owe 2 quarterly filings. So I have been working with them on that. And they're aware that if, they were granted a courtesy because they were not aware that it was required. So I'm working with them, but they are aware that they need to do so. Otherwise, they will then proceed through the court, same as this individual will need to. But right now, she doesn't have a legal STR. So I can't force her to register with us for occupancy tax and send her the paperwork, because that would be me acknowledging and admitting that she has a legal entity.
Understood.
You know?
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but I know that was collected in
Yeah,
Cornwall.
we are. Once they get the permit, John lets us know. I reach out to the person as treasurer saying, congratulations, whatever. You have to register, and here are the forms, and you owe us quarterly taxes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Just as far as like putting the poison pill in place, and I understand to go through due process. Another thing is the village, we could send a letter to Airbnb and let them know that they're in violation, and you watch how quickly Airbnb might suspend their account, and therefore then they can't rent it out. So yeah, you have to go through court, but you send a notice that the building department sent a violation, that there's a law here. New York City was able to stop Airbnbs. New Orleans, a lot of places were able to stop it, and they went after Airbnb to have them stop and shut down their advertisement. And once that's done, that's it. You could still issue the violations, but now you're closing off their revenue stream. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? Larry Gaffney. I'm on Pine Hill Road. I live across from the property in question. I've been up here 28 years. An Airbnb definitely changes the neighborhood. We have people, she has a very good business. There's people in there all the time, in and out. You never knew who's going, who's coming. Back in the day, you always knew who your neighbors were. You were in touch with your neighbors. You saw who they had going there. As for parties, there aren't a lot of parties. If it was the person living there having a party, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But if it's somebody coming up for the weekend, just for the party part of it, the neighbors shouldn't have to deal with that part of it. So I'm not gonna. Everybody else has pretty much said what I said, and it should be it should be a commercial property, and then the town should get commercial property for that in taxes. Our taxes are high enough; we can lower them that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Joseph, Pine Hill Road. I just want to share my opinion because I am not in favor of short-term renting. The reason is that if you go back, I moved in 21 years before. So if you go back to that time, almost everybody who lived in that street were original owners. And slowly that started to change. And then recently, a couple of years before, when we saw that this house was listed, we knew that the owner is going to move out. And then it was sold. We were all looking for the new neighbor. But all of a sudden, we didn't see the new neighbor. We started to see different people coming over there. That means it is changing the permanent residence atmosphere in that street, because this Pine Hill Road is one of the oldest settlement. I think might be more than 55 years. In 1960s, my house is 1967. It was built in 1967. So mostly those houses were built that time, and ever since they're family residents, and we all know each other. I know Larry, I know all the children of Larry. I know my neighbor's children, Chris's children. We know each other, but the house, I'm just 2 houses away from it, but we can hear the noise. And we even jumped onto the deck to see one day, a couple of days, because of the huge loud noise that was going on. And also, we are not against it. It's good to rent out, make it long-term renting, but for business, because it is every day you are with different people, right? And also in a family resident area, it's not how people keep on changing, because it's a family resident area. Children will be going around, playing around, and we all see each other, sometimes even talk each other. That's what family resident atmosphere is, and we want that way our street to be. So we request the town not to allow short-term renting. She could rent it out. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Anyone else? Can I motion in a second to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Can I have a motion in a second to deny the short-term rental application?
Motion.
Second. Seconded by trustee Suriello. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I did have a motion presented. I'd like to have you call it.
What motion was that?
The motion was to direct the village attorney to prepare a moratorium on further SDR applications and prepare revisions to the SDR statute to limit it to SDRs to owner-occupied units, as well as address some of the other questions here. I would also like to say in connection with that motion, a lot of information has been exchanged here. I do know that we may need to get an attorney, for example, from Clarkstown, because they do exactly that. They shut down, that is closed, they lock closed places that violate their code. My motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. You got three? Rick?
Aye, I'm an aye.
Okay, I'm an aye also, so we'll move forward with that. Public comment on agenda items only. Anyone wishing to speak on anything on the agenda for this evening? Going once? Going twice?
Just a couple of quick things. Vic, you and I had a conversation about a year ago. And I want to tell people this story because I think sometimes they misunderstand what I do and they misunderstand what the board does. And so about a year ago, I reached out to everyone that was running for office, or Democrats, Republicans, just like we're doing right now with Steve Newhouse and Mike Sussman. And, I couldn't get Tyler Etzel Jr. on the phone. I couldn't get John U. Kellerman on the phone, but I got Vic and Sue on the phone. And we were able to set up a date, and we chatted. And there's a lot of things we don't have in common. I'm a Antifa terrorist, far left, liberal, radical, and you're not. But there's things we do have in common, which is we're both Rangers fans. And they're awful right now. They're just one of the reasons why I'm here.
What is the agenda item that
I'm
you're
getting
speaking
to it, Mr. Fryban, if you would not cut me off.
Mr. Fry, I know where he's going. Okay, so
Could you just start by
Your
telling
friends
us
and
what
gardeners
the
say hi,
issue
by the way, Mr. Fryban. Would you like to talk about that while I'm standing here?
Brandon.
Yep. Vic, so let me ask you something. You've never assaulted anyone, right? You've never assaulted anyone, right? Never, right?
No.
You've never, given yourself a raise and then lied to the employees about it, right? That's not something you've ever done. Right, no, you've served honorably and decently the entire time that you've been here. And even if we don't agree politically on stuff, I thought that you've done a terrific job here on the village board. I've been really happy with not having to write 5,000 words about you, as opposed to two of the other people that we got sitting here. And I just wanted to say thank you for being professional, for not bringing your mother to work, for representing the people, for doing a good job in actually communicating with them when they raise issues and concerns, as opposed to being belligerent or obnoxious or calling them anti-Semitic. I just wanted to say thank you, because this is not an easy job. It's not usual that you have an investigative reporter running around either that's digging through everything. And so, sincerely, whatever it is that you choose to do from now on, I hope it's great. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope that there's one more Rangers Stanley Cup within the next 50 years, maybe, if we're lucky.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Public comment? On agenda items only.
This is just really quick. This is on the agenda item regarding the closing of the escrows. I saw the list of items that are being closed. I just wanted to find out, those are going to be going into the regular funds, right? Doesn't it specifically?
No, it goes back to the applicant.
Oh, it goes to the applicant.
Those are the applicant's money.
Okay, I
You
didn't
can't keep their
understand what
money
that was.
just, yeah, no.
Okay, that was it. That was all I wanted to know. What happens to that?
Yeah, it goes back to the applicant.
Anyone else? Agenda items only? Okay. Can I have a motion and a second to accept receipt of the minutes of the meeting held on October 9th, 2025?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Village Clerk McLennan, will you please read Abstract 10?
Abstract 10 contains vouchers 25260-876 through 25260-980 and totals $397,386.78.
Can I have a motion and second to approve Abstract 10 as read?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, can I have a motion and second to rerun? I got what's happening on my mind. $250 to Roberto Colon for a fence application fee refund per the building inspector and the zoning board of appeals chairman, who's standing in the back of the room.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving right along. Can I have a motion and second to appoint Connor Regan with the hire date effective of November 3rd, 2025 at an hourly rate of $31.15, title Water Wastewater Maintenance Trainee.
Motion.
Second.
All in
Question? Question is, are these conditional appointments?
Conditional appointment?
Yeah.
They're on probation.
Probation.
For 6 months to a year.
No less than 8 weeks, no more than a year.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion and a second to appoint Michael Tarcio with the hire date. Tarcio.
Never went bowling?
I never went bowling there. No, I actually did. With the hire date effective October 20th, 2025 at an hourly rate of $32.29 with the title of MEO.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion and a second to close multiple escrow accounts held by the village? The building department and the village treasurer recommend the closing of multiple escrow accounts due to inactivity or completed applications in accordance with Village Code Section 272-21.1.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. It gives me great pleasure to accept with no regrets the resignation of Victor Forelli, village trustee and deputy mayor, effective October 31st, 2025.
Whether you approve it or not, it's happening.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
I'm a nay.
Yeah, I know you're a nay. But I'll make the motion for the entire board for that. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, there will be regrets, but we'll do that in board comments. So, for the record, I know people are sitting here wondering, who the heck is the mayor going to put on the board? And I would like to announce that I am putting on the board with a start date of November 1st. I would like to welcome Kathy Mottola, or Kathleen Mottola. Even with the baggage of Mark, I still thought that she was an excellent choice. So welcome to the board, my dear. Old business, auction results. Can I have a motion and a second to accept and approve items sold at auction that were previously declared as surplus and sold for the sold on behalf of the highway department?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. New business, receipt of bids, standby generators. Can I have a motion and a second to accept receipt of bids received on October 14th, 2025? The following bids were received from Gentech Limited of $534,000 and Power with Prestige for $836,500. That's it. That's all I got, people.
I have a question about that.
Well, I got to get a motion in a second first.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Now question.
The question I had was looking at the bid information. I was wondering why it had included propane as opposed to natural gas. All the stations I saw were in areas that were served by natural gas.
Rob, you had one of them. What's that? Propane instead of natural gas.
Why aren't we doing propane?
Yeah.
No.
We already have natural gas in the building.
Okay.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the bid that went out, for some reason, I tried to call the engineers and didn't get a response. I wanted to know why they were specifying propane when in fact, I think they're.
Because, I'm sorry to interrupt you, so 5 of them are for water sewer pumps, water
They have propane.
pump stations where they have propane. And 2 of them, one's for his building and one's for his building, and that would be natural gas. So there's no natural gas in the locations of where he has some of his stations.
Okay, but any place that had natural gas was going to be the less expensive one.
Yes, as long as, if it's available, yes. But unfortunately, some of his sites, not all of the village has natural gas.
I was wondering about
Like
that because
Skyline
some of the
doesn't have
stations
natural
looked like
gas.
they were right
No,
next to natural
Skyline
gas.
doesn't have natural gas. And there's 2 in Skyline, isn't there? Birchwood and... Right, right.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Do I have an all in favor?
Aye.
Now, can I have a motion and a second to authorize me, the mayor, and award the bid to Gentech in the amount of $534,000 for the standby generators project at the request of Engineer Hoffman's memo?
Motion, second.
Motion seconded by Trustee Fabro. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, resolution relevy of previously exempt properties. Can I have a motion and a second to adopt the following resolution as presented to relevy a prorated tax amount due on properties located at various locations that were previously eligible for an exemption?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, sewer tie-in request. So discussion, and then that will move it forward if everybody's okay with it. The village received a request for a sewer hookup for a property located at 71 Scunnamunk Road in Highland Mills from the town of Woodbury. Okay, so in speaking with the wastewater superintendent, Jason Braggerall, on the matter, and both agree that tying this into consolidated sewer is the best course of action. So, can I have a motion and a second to approve the tie-in request of the town of Woodbury and have the attorney draft an agreement subject to the Orange County Sewer District 1 requirements and approvals as mandated by the county?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, I did say that. Yep. Okay. Resolution, positive declaration. So Jessica, take it away.
You might need that microphone.
Okay, you certainly do.
Thanks. Resolution of the Village of Woodbury Board of Trustees adopting a positive declaration under SECR for the petition to annex 197 acres from the town of Woodbury and Village of Woodbury to the town of Palm Tree and Village of Irish Joel. Whereas pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, a process is provided for the environmental review of municipal actions, including a petition for annexation of territory. And whereas a petition has been submitted by Acres Road 2 Holding LLC pursuant to General Municipal Law Article 17 requesting the annexation of approximately 197 acres of land from the town of Woodbury and Village of Woodbury to the town of Palm Tree and Village of Irish Joel. And whereas the proposed annexation of more than 100 acres constitutes a Type 1 action under SECR due to its potential for significant environmental impacts, including zoning changes and resulting land use changes, infrastructure demands, changes to neighborhood character, and other environmental impacts. And whereas by determination dated October 14, 2025, the Commissioner of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation designated the Village of Woodbury as lead agency with respect to the proposed annexation. And whereas the Village of Woodbury Board of Trustees have reviewed the petition and accompanying documentation and an environmental assessment form prepared for the proposed annexation and has determined that the proposed annexation may result in one or more significant impacts on the environment, including land, surface water, groundwater, flooding, plants and animals, agricultural resources, aesthetic resources, open space and recreation, critical environmental areas, transportation, energy, noise and light, and human health, community plans and community character and services. And whereas the village board has considered the criteria set forth in 6 NYCRR section 617.7 and finds the potential environmental impacts of the proposed annexation warrant the preparation of the environmental impact statement. And now, therefore, it is resolved as follows. Section 1. The village hereby ratifies and affirms each and every whereas paragraph above as thought through set forth in full here in. Section 2, the village hereby adopts a positive declaration under secret for the proposed annexation of 197 acres from the town of Woodbury and village of Woodbury to the town of Palm Tree and village of Kyrus Shoal to investigate and evaluate the potential environmental impacts of the proposed annexation. And Section 3, the village shall proceed with the coordinated review process under secret and require the preparation of a EIS to fully assess the environmental impacts of the proposed annexation. Section 4, the mayor and other officers of the village are authorized to take all actions in further stance of these resolutions, including providing notice of the positive declaration to the involved and interested agencies and members of the public and preparing the draft scope for the EIS. Section 5, the resolutions shall be effective immediately.
Whew. Good job. That's why she makes the big bucks. Could you repeat the second section? Okay, can I have motion and a second to adopt the following resolution as Jessica so clearly read?
Yeah. Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion.
Go ahead.
The Commissioner of Environmental Conservation went to great lengths to explain why the village of Woodbury is the one that is lead agency. One of the discrepancies in the paperwork that has been presented to date is that the EAF still contains information in the D section to be filled out by the village that indicates that this is not a development project. The commissioner's decision clearly stated and is in fact the reason that the village is lead agency is because they have to consider the development potential of the area being annexed. It's not simply a land transfer, which is what the EAF presently shows. This should be corrected. I'd like to table this until that can be corrected. In addition to that, one of the steps that we did not take, and which is mentioned in the commissioner's thing, is the coordination letter between the interested as well as involved agencies, which we have not done. There are a number of those, including Orange County Sewer District, the Monroe Woodbury School District, the Chris Joel School District, the New York State DOT, and the New York City Department of Environmental Protection for Water. This should be sent out so that all of these agencies can participate in this process that we're about to engage in. Additionally, this response to the lead agency coordination was a joint effort of the town and the village, and the town has not been consulted, nor do we have a resolution from them agreeing to this, and we need a joint meeting with the town board to basically process this and document that we are proceeding in accordance with Part 617 of the Environmental Conservation Law. For those two reasons, I am requesting that the board table this motion until we can have the joint meeting and send the information to all of the interested agencies as required by the New York State Environment and Regulations Part 617.
First, I would just like to say that this was reviewed by Phil Carmel and Brian Cave, our annexation attorneys, and it was also reviewed by Lino Sciaretta, and Rudy reviewed it as well. So I am kind of thinking that our attorneys probably know more than what you're presenting tonight, considering that you also voted down us serving as lead agency in the first place, and then the DEC rewarded that as well. Now, I don't know if you want to speak on anything that he just mentioned, but sure.
With respect to the town of Woodbury, It's my understanding that they did not contact the DEC and ask to be lead agency, and the DEC appointed the village as the lead agency. So there's no reason, in my opinion, table it to have involvement with the town.
You do know that we had a meeting with the town board for the sole purpose of having a joint response.
There was?
And they.
When was that?
They are.
Yeah, I don't remember that meeting.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember a joint meeting. Were you in that joint meeting?
I was. It was in executive session, and the town board agreed to share the expense of this. Do you not remember any of this, Mayor?
No, I don't remember any of this. And
We did sign a agreement, though, to share the attorney's fees, I recall, if that's what you're referencing?
Well, we signed an agreement.
yeah, that I'm well aware of, but
Yeah.
There was no meeting.
there was no.
I recall we did do an executive session, I think. No.
That was us.
The one that we were all in
Yeah.
for when we voted to hire the attorney. Maybe that's the reference, but, sorry, to the attorney. I forgot did Phil contact the town board? Phil Karma? Or do we know if there was
She's on.
correspondence?
They were on the emails.
Okay, so they're aware.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
I was also just going to say that the involved agencies or the interested agencies do not have any decision-making authority regarding the annexation. They should be apprised of our actions, but they don't have any decision-making in it. So the village would be well within its rights to adopt a pause deck and then notify those agencies of that action.
I have to disagree with you. The law is clear that we have not noticed those agencies, and we are required to by the environmental conservation law. And I'm surprised that you would not, it's not a question of them possibly getting some information. They have a role to play in this, a very big role. And when this comes to scoping, I would expect all of them to be participating. That's why there's supposed to be a lead agency coordination letter. That's why I voted against the mayor's shortcut to cut them out of the whole thing. This is a question of the public and those agencies participating as the commissioner put in her decision.
Did I get a motion?
And you are just saying, no, we'll just go ahead with it. I disagree, sir.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have an all in favor? Aye. Two at the end.
Could I ask a clarifying question? So, unless I'm mistaken, the resolution, this is the point at which we send the coordination letters to all those agencies we just discussed. That was what I just understood you said?
I think Jessica's read that in one of the whereas.
Okay. All right, I'm an aye, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I have an additional item, and I'll get through it rather quickly. I need a motion and a second to schedule a public hearing to hear relief from hardship moratorium and a tie-in to the Consolidated Water District, subject to the establishment of an escrow account for 48 Hadley Farm Road.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That public hearing would be November 13th. So, ladies and gentlemen, did I get an all in favor? All in favor. I did get an all in favor. Matt said aye. Okay. I did.
We're both.
Okay. At record time.